Welcome back. My name is Nick Hawtin. We're here at Green Impact Week. I've got a lovely panel here to talk about the renewable energy revolution. We've got the renewable energy revolution blazing in through the windows at us. Whew! If you missed my lovely dark jacket from earlier, well, you can look forward to seeing that tomorrow. It'll be back. But in the meantime, I've got a really cool panel here to talk about the renewable energy revolution, starting with Jesper, Medine, and Thomas from, let's see, your right to left. I'm going to go ahead and let Jesper introduce himself. We'll do a quick introductions. We'll have a short presentation, then we'll dig into how we're going to make more money by changing over to green energy. Jesper, værsgo.
Well, thank you. I'm Jesper Boie Rasmussen. I'm the CEO of Nerve Smart Systems. Nerve have developed a revolutionizing way to actually control battery cells in battery packs. What is unique about the way we do it is that we can eliminate a lot of the normal high-power electronics you need in a battery pack. And by eliminating that, we can lower the cost and we can increase the efficiency. So that's really key to making the green transition. As I see it, we've now at 50% renewable energy in Denmark. That was the easy 50%. Now comes the tough 50% to go to 100% renewable energy. And as I see it, what we need to do that transition is actually to be able to store the energy. And that is what we can do in our batteries more efficient and at a better price than our competitors. So right now, we're just finishing up on the first products and are ready to go out into the world.
Excellent.
Excellent. Hi, I'm Medine Duvarci, and I work as a sustainability manager at BetterEnergy, which is a Danish renewable energy company with an international DNA. And our core is pretty much to build solar parks that supply companies, cities, and whole countries with renewable energy. In my function, it says on paper that I'm a sustainability manager, but in such a young company that was born in 2012, we pretty much have a green and social identity, so everybody's working with sustainability in one dimension. What I'm doing specifically is actually communicating all of our efforts about sustainability, mobilizing companies to tell the stories about their renewable energy consumption and how they're adding more new energy to the grid that will phase out the fossil fuels. So in short, I'm mobilizing a lot of our stakeholders to go beyond and help build a sustainable future.
All right, and just Thomas is going to have a couple of slides and do a little explanation here.
I can't do it so short.
That's exactly, and before you jump into it, because we'll have some slides over here, but just to put this all in perspective, because we've got a really interesting mix up here. It's all solar, or it's all either storing solar, generating it, but Jesper is early stage and is getting ready to ship his first 10 by 10 foot container to the island of Bornholm with your battery storage on it. This is an emotional experience, shipping your first product.
It really is. I mean, we've been developing this for, in my view, too many years, but that's life in the startup business, and hardware especially. But we're actually right now where we have certified the systems, and we're shipping a container to the island of Bornholm on Monday. So Monday, a truck will come and pick it up and drive it to Bornholm to all the world.
All right, I think there's a quick round of applause for finally shipping the damn product. All right, now to put this in frame, because I was really looking forward to this panel as soon as I figured out who you guys were. BetterEnergy, you modestly said that you're in the business of powering, and you threw in the word cities there, right? And so, just in case, revenue last year was €1 billion, yes? Okay,
no,
so
Danish
billion,
kroners.
well, $1 billion crowns.
Yeah, exactly.
Still a lot of money, so I made more than €100 million. One of the things we'll be talking about up here is, for those of you out there who are worried that solar is, when is it going to, it's here.
Yeah.
It's here, and the question within 2 years is going to be, man, how do you afford to run that on oil? But we'll get there. Thomas, yes. You're also launching a super exciting product.
I have some of the answers for that, I think. So, I'll just make this work if I can. There. My name is Thomas Peterson. I'm married with Miss Sophie and the father of four kids. Mm-hmm. As you hear, I'm not so good at talking English, but or landing rockets vertically or making cars, but I'm a hell of a good carpenter and a good roofer. So, and I also made a roof, a solar roof, actually called T-Roof. I'm the owner, inventor in this company, where we made a roof made of complete hardened glass. All the tiles or the slates are with hardened glass. It is standardized, and all the classifications are made as normal roof with the wind testing, snow load, and the hagel test, and all that. And the roofing system is easy to get. It is easy to mount. It is easy for everybody to have. This is some of the pictures of the roofs and the customers that we have made, and a lot of families here. And that is the roof that we have here, where you actually you can't see the solar within the plates, and it's a long-lasting, long-living roof. Also, its living time is beyond 80 years, 100 years or so, because it's hardened glass made out of. Bottom line, it's made out of sand and crystals. So
glass lasts a long time.
So the numbers, when we compare it, what are we doing and what are we up against, and compared to other normal natural slate roofs, the economy compared with that, because we have this system, patented mounting system that allows everybody to mount this roof with no problems. We can mount 50 square meters per day. The roof itself is a little bit expensive than the natural slates, but when it all comes together, it's almost the same price. When we add watts into the roof, it only costs an expense of 24 euro cent per watt. That's almost the same compared to the fields made. But here we don't have to have the production transported in grid expansions to the city where we consume all this electricity. On the roofs, there's normally some buildings beneath it. We consume the production. So when we have the roof compared with the natural slate, and you put in these watts within 6 years, the extra investment for the watts for the production will be returned to you, and after 6 years, it goes into a plus. That is compared with an expensive natural slate. When we do the cheapest roof and compare that with a steel roof, just to put out the hard lines, it will be returned in 11 years. But still, this is nicer. It is having a longer living time, and yeah. In Copenhagen community, they have a goal for 2025 that 1% of the electricity consumption should be made out of solar. They are halfway now, producing 13,000 in round numbers out of, and their goal is 26,000 megawatt hours per year. So when we look into the roofs in Copenhagen community, there is 19,000 roofs prepared, or buildings prepared with big potential for the solar. And there's a potential megawatt per hour per year in 450,000 megawatts. When we take out only the most potential roofs with that would say they have to be, when you look at the age, and they have to be changed within 5 years, and out of the 18 we started with, only 6,000 is back with high potential age roof that has to be changed. There's a potential in 320,000 megawatt per year. And remember, Copenhagen community to reach their goals only need 13,000 megawatt per year more. So that would be 3% or something out of this potential. So we have the roof, we are ready. Jesper has one already, and you can get one also. So that's it.
That's right. I like what I like here. We've got the roof, we've got the means to generate, we've got the means to store, we've got the business model. Boom, we got the people with the access to the cash. Was I the only person that saw their house on that map? Yeah. Cool. Well, my apartment building. Excellent. Well, let's see. Quick note. There's a very Danish, I think, element looking at that. Danish design. The Nordics are known for having nice, clean design. Also, when you said that your background is you're a carpenter, master craftsman. My grandfather was a master craftsman. He's been dead for 30 years. I cannot pick up a brush without going, I'm going to screw this up. He's watching. But there's a great pride in this. And also one of the things that I think we're also really good here is that we're also really good at talking across boundaries. So, for example, that integrating with the people doing the thing, with the let's say researchers that have got the ideas out at DTU, where I'm sure that you've either at or have been by, you're really good at talking to the people that, or can be really good. We're just as good at other people's at creating walls. But seizing these opportunities, Medine, you were going to say.
I actually think it's a perfect example of, especially the Nordic design. And also, when we build solar parks on land, design is absolutely key because it has to fit into the landscape. And because solar is still so new in the Danish landscape, people just see these panels and think, this is ugly. This is taking up space, it's ruining my view. And we're out there debunking a lot of these myths. And I think this solution is actually an excellent way to show that it can be integrated into the house design. What we're doing with solar parks is actually looking at the land we're occupying, and we are working from this philosophy that when we take those large stretches of land that we mount a solar park on, we have to integrate it somehow, and that means identifying solutions for heightening the biodiversity in the park. We want to leave it better than we took it. And as you also said, Thomas, those panels live for a long time.
I mean, like 100 years?
Yeah, approximately. I mean, it does. And we're talking about solar parks, the lifespan, we're talking about 30 plus years. So when you take the soil, you treat it. You don't just wait for everything to go crazy and bloom. You treat it, and when you one day need to take down the solar park, the earth will be so much more healthy. It will be a better ecosystem. And we have to talk about the visual impact. So I think this is a great solution and a great testament to what solar can actually do. And it's the cheapest technology. Renewable energy technology. So.
Jesper, you were going to jump in, or you had a point, or?
No, I mean, I can only agree. And as Thomas said, I actually have the roof. It just adds a lot of aesthetical value to our house. Before it was just red tiles. Now it's actually quite cool and sleek and black, so it really helps. And with regard to the big parks, the good thing about having the parks around the country, also in the rural areas, is that when at one point you will have batteries to store the energy, it will be a perfect site to also have fast chargers for EVs, which will eventually come more and more than they are now. And having distributed energy storage is a good idea for the grid and also for charging EVs, because it's when you are in the middle of nowhere, you are missing a charger for your car.
Yeah.
So I think it will be a perfect synergy to the whole transition towards electrification.
Exactly. I mean, so one of the challenges of energy is the same challenge that we've got with tech. It's the future is here, but it's unevenly distributed. One of the challenges with technology is distributing the energy. And it's, well, if we all use a lot of energy in our houses. If it's being generated on the roof, it doesn't have to go very far, Or is it out in the countryside where it is, all right, it's, chargers along the main highway, I get that, everybody can see that, but out in Farmer Jones's field, in the middle of nowhere, this is a bad place to run out of energy, and if the energy's right there.
Yeah.
There's also going to be a nice angle in. I mean, I know farmers, when they look, you and I walk by, drive by in our car and think, oh, what a pretty field. The farmers can tell you sort of by cents and euros per square meter how much that field is earning them. Yeah, and so I was thinking, what are the things that are triggering your buyers or your partners? And I think that chart where you go from having paid for the roof to the roof paying itself in 5 years, that's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, they understand the material, they can see it, and they have the trust in it, because we have also, both in us, we are attacking it at a very decent way with the customers, but also the economics, we are very strong. So that means we have been through a journey that where we are now, where we can manufacture, produce big numbers, we can compete in price per watt. So it's more or less like a why not than a why should I.
And that's we talked about, one of the things we we get it here in Denmark, you know. So we are known as a renewable energy. You said, you know, we get 50% of our energy. When you mention Denmark, everybody goes windmills, windmills. Yeah. You know, and cool. Now we're figuring out solar, and there are some myths that still need to be busted about solar. But it is funny how many people on this stage have been talking about solar. Co-op, the supermarket chain, has been talking about how now from a roof being just something they see as needing to cover a facility, it's wait, we don't have panels up there. That's a lost opportunity. So now they're powering their warehouses with solar cells on the ceiling. Now, so I get that we would have, up here in the Nordics, yeah, of course we would eventually come round to this, but you're installing networks in Poland, and you've just gone to America, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Now, in America, the home of Donald Trump, and not here, and the oil industry, and I understand there's two camps in America. Yeah. You've gone to America, you're doing a couple of projects.
Tesla made some great marketing for us, so
Tesla
they can't deliver, so we have to.
Have they delivered in any of those houses yet, or?
Yeah, in 2 months' time, 1.5 months' time, we are on two rooftops in Washington, D.C. So, in 4 to 5 months, we are throughout the classification system in the US for all the UL codes and the Miami windblow test and all that. So,
right, so you got this Miami windblow, because they have a lot of hurricanes, because, I mean,
they can have it.
We get worried about weather up here, but they have weather just like they have politics. It's a little extreme. So this Miami test, the Miami window test is what?
It's just a terrifying windblow test by the name itself. It's terrifying, but we also made it here in Denmark, so we're not so afraid. The Technical Institute of Denmark made all those windblow tests.
The whether or not the glass shatters.
The accumulated aging test and fire classification and all that. So.
And we're known for quality up here. Do you see? I mean, is that when you show up in America, do they trust us?
Completely.
Excellent. And you went to America not all by yourselves, but
we
with
have
a bit of
some help, and Danish industry and the Danish embassy are helping us.
All right, so DI, the big industry organization, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
To give us advice and
so there's help out there for people. And how have they been to work with? Because I've worked with big organizations before. Sometimes they get it, and sometimes they can be a little slow.
You know, I started my business also. I started as a carpenter. I am a carpenter. I also have some education in solar, but now it went from a small business to a big business now, and I also have the amount of good people around me doing other stuff where I don't have the experience. So when it's about US, I make all the relationship and all that with the parts and some other guys from my company.
Do you have an American over there? I mean, did you set up?
We have a Danish-American lady over there who has been working in the American embassy with sustainability and with real estate rules over there. So we have some.
Cool. What's your experience of taking this of going elsewhere?
You know what? Actually, if I have to backtrack a little bit, before I even started at BetterEnergy, I was trained by the former Vice President Al Gore in Texas for his climate reality training. And the moment I tell him I'm from Denmark, he's like, "Oh, the wind turbines."
Right.
And that's like the best branding.
And Al Gore is known for two things, like wind turbines and whales.
Yeah.
It's like saving the whales.
You know what? It's the best compliment you can get as a dean here in the States. They're like,
and he's got a certain amount of self-irony about it. He was on the sitcom 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Where his last word is, "I hear a whale," and he runs off. Yeah.
And you know, we need that kind of mentality. But it was just excellent example of how they trust us to do well with renewable energy technologies. And now we have this extremely ripe technology by means of solar.
Yeah.
And we have the means to scale it up.
And it's competing with zero subsidies at market rates with oil, gas, coal.
Exactly.
Which are all three of them heavily subsidized.
You know what? I usually say the technology is there. It's our time to shine.
Yeah.
It really is.
Shine, I get it.
Yeah, but seriously, there is a lot of elements in that. And also just the technology is so ripe that you can scale it for other countries. Obviously, I think we were the first, I can say that with confidence, I think we were the first renewable energy company in Denmark that back in 2019 said, we are not going to use subsidies. We're not going to be dependent on state support to build our parks. We need to create a business model that's future fit. To get the financing. And when you see these big solar parks, people have this idea, we're usually working with companies that buy the electricity, but they get like, oh, we have to invest in this park, it must be super expensive.
Yeah.
What they're actually just doing, and they're engaging in a power purchase agreement with us, that means they're off-taking the energy. We're finding the financial means to cover the park. And this is the kind of sustainable business models that make it easier for other people to take the right action.
Cool, because I want to get Jesper in on this just in a second. Because you're the carpenter. You know roofs, right? Exactly. You know how to get it there, how to make it, which is And I have an enormous respect for now that I'm putting up. I've moved into a new apartment, so let's just say people that can swing a hammer and hit the nail every time have my respect. When you just talked about people purchasing power from you, what you looked at was what people want. They want the green energy. They don't really want to get involved in how it gets there. And so the core of your business was founded by two investment bankers, as in people.
A lawyer and an investment banker.
A lawyer, but deal makers, makers, exactly. As we'd call them in New York. Yeah. Okay, so people that are used to the deals that it takes to bring all the people together. Yes, but the people in your team, you said you had a certain weariness about you when you talked about how long it had taken to get this technology to market. I'm guessing you're on the science side of this?
Yes, I'm a physicist by background.
All right, a physicist
it's
by
actually
background.
my idea, what we're doing in the company. I'm just impatient. I know it takes a long time to develop hardware.
Impatient people make stuff happen.
Time by time, I think, why didn't I go into software? But I am into hardware. I'm a hardware guy, and
I've worked with software. There's a lot of frustration in software. Cool. But,
sure.
So how long has this particular project been underway?
4 years.
4 years. All right.
Yeah,
Now, but it's hardware.
It is hardware, yeah. It's a hardware device that we put on top of battery cells and then connect them in a very intelligent way. And that's how we can make a high-power charger for EVs at an extremely good price. So once the batteries are there for the big systems, we just add cables almost, and then you have a high-power charger.
And so Nerve Smart Systems. So the battery is already there. You put something on top of the battery.
Yes, we buy the cells from cell suppliers around the world.
Right, and so the actual battery cells, that's almost a commodity now,
yes,
right? Excellent.
Yeah. We don't want to compete on that.
Cool.
So we buy the battery cells, and then we build the systems on top of the cells and connect it in a very
And so when you
way.
say build the systems, that could be a lot of things.
What we've developed is actually a small printed circuit board that can either activate or bypass the single cells in a battery string, and that's the unique part about what we do. But building the PCB or the printed circuit board, that's the easy part, because then you have all the algorithms that are actually controlling it. So we do make a lot of software.
Yeah. Super. All right. Cool. So it's managing the software. And when you say a much cheaper way of storing energy, can you benchmark that for us?
Well, I think during the lifetime of a normal battery system, you have around an 80% efficiency. Only 80%. So it means that 20% you put into a battery pack evaporates in heat. But we're actually going up to 94%. And if we are having a high-power charger connected, it's even better. Because we can take and charge an EV directly from the battery.
Electric vehicle
without any electronics in between. Normally you have these refrigerator-sized high-power chargers around the country. We just need a cable to a battery.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's the unique part of it.
Nice.
Such a critical technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is really interesting in terms of the national goals of Denmark. We have this 70% CO2 reduction goal, but we need the electric cars to get out on the road to achieve it. I mean, that's where the biggest potential is.
Yeah.
And this is also the impressive thing. I think the whole green transition up until now has been carried by subsidies. The government setting a lot of things aside to drive the transition. It's been good. It was needed. But now you have you can compete on market terms. You have companies driving the agenda forward.
I always feel like it's in a certain way, it also taps into the national soul, right? Or the national character. So I work a lot in Sweden. The Swedes, they build big companies to make a lot of big stuff. And then they look over at Denmark and they're always like, you guys, you're all about the trade. I'm like, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, that's a good point. Something like 25% of world trade is brokered from within a 2-kilometer radius of Maersk's headquarters downtown. But we are really good at figuring out what needs to go. So we're really good at this deal-making skill is something we really have. We also have this really deep craftsman tradition. And then what I'm hearing about this power thing is that this could go distributed, and we're also really good at distributed. If you look at our agricultural sector, it's never been about huge farms, it's been about little farms working together like ants.
Yeah. You said that once you said Denmark, Al Gore said, wind turbines.
Yeah.
that is what I think we should strive towards, that when people say here Denmark, they should say, oh, green transition.
Exactly.
Because what we need to do is to have all the pieces in play to actually generate this green transition. And I'm not only talking about solar cells and batteries, I'm also talking about heat pumps, ways to actually control energy distribution in houses. We were actually part of the Energy Lab North Harbour project in the North Harbour, which tried to combine heat and electricity and all these different kinds of energy. And that is, I really think Denmark has a perfect opportunity to be the country for green transition in a clever way, where we actually try to combine all the different energy versions that we use in our daily life. And what is important to do that is actually to break down some of the barriers we have on the taxation of energy. Mm-hmm. Because right now it's extremely difficult to move electricity to heat and heat to electricity without having to pay some sort of tax. So we really need to look at that system at a high level and make sure that we generate the perfect opportunity for Denmark to be the country for green transition.
So I think it's also really important for the entrepreneurs to seize the opportunities that are out there, like you're talking about with America.
I can do some numbers here.
Yeah, go.
Because so I think the question is about we should get covered up by own production from renewable energy, and if that is the question, I think we should. It's also about getting covered up both in solar and wind. Now we are covered up with own consumption from wind with 47%, and with solar we have reached 4%. In Germany it's 70% from solar. So we should still be working on the wind turbines. We should do it on the fields. We should do it on the roof. We should also do it both on the fields, but we can't receive our goals only on the fields because the grid expansion can't be built out in the time of our goals in 2030 and all that. So we have to do this. We also have to do it on the roofs. We have to, when we do it on the roof or nearby your consumption, we have to have storage systems that helps keeping the production near to the consumption for later that day to use in the evening, or so on and so on. We can also use the storage system to balance the grid in the cities, in the small villages, and so we have to look up and we have to look wider. So and a little bit we have some policy here in Denmark. Also, when I'm up and around in the other countries, some of those guys and big companies are looking up to Denmark and say, okay, if you don't want, you can be free of it, because we have, in historical, it has been those whole 4%, almost some of the fields, but has been built up by the common people, companies making that. So we should ensure that they can keep on doing that and not providing them from it. And right now there's some really big issues regarding to those rules coming from the EU, UN, or what is called that. And they're getting a little bit messed up. So we have to look into that and be sure of that it is accessible for every private people, for the companies to get this solar system. That's why we are only at 4%.
Well, I should say, there's two. There's what we're doing here in Denmark, and then there's the rest of the big wild world. And it's funny listening to the three of you. You had a great point about we're known on windmills. Let's make sure they know us for everything else. Some of the great part is that is actually already happening. You mentioned you're in America, you're putting in 2 roofs in Washington, D.C.
And Norway, Sweden also.
Which is an incredibly hot place in the summer. So you've picked the right time of the year to install some roofs in Washington. There was a fellow here just today that does flywheel storage of energy, these cylinders. Last time I saw one of the cylinders was at Dansk Industri, who've helped you go to the States. He's talking to some people in America because, guess what? America's finally come around to doing windmills, and they're doing windmills in a big way off the sea windmills off the east coast of America. They're putting in thousands of them, which takes ships, which will need power, and which will need energy storage. And guess who they called up? They called up a Danish company to see if they could do the energy storage on these ships. another this will, has the potential to be a massive contract. There's a lot of opportunity for us to follow the doors that have been kicked in by people like Vestas. And in the words of IKEA went into America in a big way in the late 90s, and their ad was, it's a big country. And I think having visited, for those of you that have seen American furniture, they're good at fast food, not so much at the furniture. Their ad was, IKEA's ad was, it's a big country, somebody has to furnish it. And why not us, They need a lot of energy, they like their oil, they like their gas, they're gonna have to switch. Let's help them out.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit problematic with solar in so historical looking here in Denmark, but for our company, it has been good starting up here in Denmark. It has, for that, Denmark is great. We have done all the testing, and all the institutes has helped us. We have the Danish industry, so I'm very glad that we have that here in Denmark, but I'm also glad that we can sell it everywhere else in the world.
Well, we're fantastic at scaling overseas.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm actually thinking along two lines, because the energy sector is the most heavily regulated sector. I mean, as I was telling you, it was so easy with the internet boom, and you could mobilize action through social media apps and whatnot. This is such a heavily regulated, and the fast pace we're at right now, we have the technology, we have the people, we have the talent acquired to do this green transition. But when the government falls behind, then that can hinder progress. And that's a huge issue if you don't, at the same time and simultaneously, change the regulation to mitigate a lot of things.
So that's a great point. I was talking to your CEO, was on stage here a couple of days ago, and he mentioned something that was interesting, and I'd love to hear you guys' take on it. That that your team at BetterEnergy had grown from, originally it was a couple of deal makers, and then you'd grown sort of organically to take in the people to work on the projects, and then the bigger the projects got, the more you had to interact with the government and with regulators and with the energy grid. And again, distribution's a huge deal. It's one of the reasons why locally storing and locally generating is such a hot topic, because moving energy from A to B involves a lot of bureaucrats, and not necessarily the flexible initiatives let's solve, but ones who've been really good at filling out forms right, which is an important thing.
It is.
However, so you've got a whole grid team, I understand, like grid industry helping people make it possible for the energy grid and yours to plug into each other.
It's so critical, because I, as an individual person, I'm extremely scared of climate change. The prospects, what's going to happen to the planet. There are so many food elements that we're going to lose out on, and a lot of ecosystems are being damaged. We are on time, and it's not to create this scary doomsday scenario, but when you have all these readily available solutions, why not just take advantage of them? And you need, just in our company, the way we've been growing is we put the whole value chain inside the company. So we have people working with power solutions, engineers, working with procurement and all the logistics. We have grid people, grid engineers that know how to get the energy connected to the grid, added to the grid, and how to offtake it. And the reason why we're doing this is to shorten the pathways to get a green transition. This is not going to happen overnight, but you need the talent across different dimensions. You need the whole value chain within your company. And when I started back in 2019, I think we were 30, 40 people. We're 120 now. So it's moving fast.
So when you talk your grid team, we're not talking one or two people working together.
No, there are a couple.
All right.
You've met some of them as well, so.
All right, exactly. So Jesper, Thomas, this may be part of your future team. I know you've got a bunch of different skills on your team, but lawyers and regulatory experts may be part of your future.
We have that too.
Maybe there's a little knowledge sharing on who you're looking for and what you need those people to do that you guys could share with. Well, listen, very last thoughts. We got like maybe 1 minute before we have to wrap this one up. You got any last comments? Last lessons learned? As I say, with America, my lesson with America usually is if you're going to America, bring a Sherpa, like have a guide, have somebody who's done it before.
Yeah, but in 1.5 months, we have 2 customers who have had it, so it's just about time.
It's the timing is right, the time is now.
Yeah,
super.
One roof at a time, one customer at a time, and then look up, think big, but one roof at a time.
Exactly. Lovely. Medine.
And just to pick up on that, I mean, act now, one thing, that's the easy way out, but also just size the momentum. There's a great momentum, and alone I can make a difference. Together we can make a change that's measurable. And that's the thing. We have to lead with the good examples and use the words in our power. So also be very careful with greenwashing. A lot of it is happening now with sustainability becoming a buzzword. We have to do it right. Change has to be right.
Yeah, let's use all the tools in the toolbox, because we need to act now.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree. Yeah.
All right, listen, you know what? The cumulative effect of the changes we make today show up, as Jesper and I can tell you, sooner than you think. When I moved here 21 years ago, you needed a tetanus shot if you fell in Copenhagen Harbor. Right now, my telephone will not stop buzzing because my daughter is texting me to go, listen, the sun's out, can I go swimming? When are you going to get off work? When can we go swimming? So we're going to close this down in 15 seconds. I'm going to leave. I've got my swimming trunks in my bag, and I'll see you in Copenhagen Harbor. Why? Because if we act now, the future shows up sooner than we think, and it is amazing. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.